You hate my parents that much?
It's not about that. I'm just saying we should respect each other. Mom, just let it go. Break up with him. This is the story of how I ended 21 years of life with my selfish and domineering husband, Spencer. My name is Rosalie. I'm a 45-year-old part-time housewife. I live with Spencer, who's the same age as me. Our daughter, Kelly, is 21. She's currently an apprentice hairstylist in New York. Spencer is a corporate guy, but he's had a good income since he was young, so we've never struggled financially. Because of that, I never complained about his many hobbies, like golf and skiing, filling up our garage. But Spencer never shared those hobbies with Kelly and me. Even after Kelly was born, he was rarely home on weekends. We never even ate together during the weekdays. He hardly attended any of Kelly's school events. He'd show up at sports day, but you could tell he didn't want to be there. And he was always yelling. If things didn't go his way, he'd raise his voice. He hated being criticized. Whenever I would speak against his selfish attitude towards Kelly, he'd get angry and kick things around. The anger in his eyes was genuinely frightening. I was always scared of that look. I thought about divorce many times, but I never had the courage. Plus, when he was in a good mood, he'd dote on Kelly, so I couldn't take away her only father. Looking back, I realized that I was probably just making excuses to justify my own laziness. Every summer and Christmas vacation, Spencer would enthusiastically take Kelly and me to visit his parents. His family runs their own business. Spencer, being the eldest son, didn't take it over. Instead, my brother-in-law and his wife run the business and live with my in-laws. Despite choosing the corporate path, Spencer seems to have a complex about my brother-in-law. In front of him, Spencer always brags about how great he is. But his family doesn't really care about Spencer's bragging. They just let it go in one ear and out the other. While I sat doing nothing, it was hard dealing with Spencer, who not only made me do all the chores at his parents' house, but also mocked me openly. Yet his family suddenly looked out for me. When we left, they would always say, "Thanks for coming." So despite Spencer's attitude, I didn't really dislike his family. In fact, I often wondered why Spencer was the way he was, given that his family was so great. My mom raised me on her own after my dad passed away when I was in the 8th grade. She was a part-time nurse's aide back then, but studied hard to become a registered nurse. She worked tirelessly to support me through vocational school. Thanks to her, I landed a job in caregiving. I deeply respect my mom for it. I live alone now, and my aunt, who is my mom's sister, lives nearby. I wanted to visit my family home too because I still worry about Mom. But Spencer, who would gladly spend days at his own home, always made sure our visits to my place were brief, just a couple of hours. And he'd grumble under his breath the whole 3-hour car ride. Spencer was all smiles in front of my mom, though, trying to look like a good person. Fed up with his behavior. "Let's spend our summer vacation visiting our own families separately," I suggested. But Spencer absolutely wouldn't have it. Tired of dealing with Spencer's short fuse, I started visiting my mom with Kelly when he wasn't around. Once Kelly passed her cosmetology exams and landed a job in New York, life with Spencer became even more unbearable for me. He suddenly became intrusive, focusing on our home life only after Kelly moved out. Even if I came home slightly late, he would yell at me. But he never stopped going out to play, even while he kept me tightly bound and continually berated me. On weekends when Spencer wasn't home, I actually felt relieved. Occasionally, when he returned home early and found out I hadn't prepared dinner, he would rage.
"Couples should have their meals together. That's just common sense."
I was stunned by his contradictions. Kelly has flown the nest. Even with my qualifications, I could make things work if I put my mind to it. Maybe it's time to seriously consider what lies ahead. Just as I began pondering this, my aunt called me early in the morning. She said she urgently needed to talk, so I immediately felt it was about Mom. After sending Spencer off to work, I headed straight for my parents' house. When I got there, both Mom and my aunt were present. Mom, who I hadn't seen in a while, looked a bit thinner. "What's going on?" Instead of Mom, my aunt spoke up. "Well, you see." Hearing my aunt's words, my mind went blank. Mom has cancer and was given a year to live. I couldn't comprehend what my aunt was saying. As my mind swirled, Mom reassured me. "Don't worry. I've seen many people recover from this illness in my line of work. The survival rate is high," she said cheerfully with a smile. "Oh, you," my concerned yet frustrated aunt said. "Amelia is exaggerating." Mom playfully slapped her on the back, laughing. I was speechless, seeing Mom trying to keep the mood light. Then Mom reassured me. "Don't worry. We're fully insured, you know." Her words were full of conviction. When I looked into my mom's eyes, memories flooded back of how she'd supported me bravely without a word of complaint. Even after Dad passed away, tears began to flow uncontrollably. "Hey, I'm not dead yet, you know." Mom tried to turn it into a joke, but I could see she was also holding back tears. My aunt was doing her best to keep it together, too. From that point on, my thoughts were consumed by Mom. I deeply regretted secretly meeting someone else behind Spencer's back. Is there anything I can do for Mom, who has worked so hard for me? Then I remembered something Mom once said. "I'd love to spend time leisurely watching the ocean." That's it. I'll gift Mom a vacation. While she still has the energy, I'll make Mom's wish come true. Feeling determined, I first contacted our daughter Kelly and informed her about Mom's condition. I also told her I was considering a divorce, depending on Spencer's reaction. Kelly said she'd come home on her day off tomorrow. The next day, Kelly and I waited for Spencer to return. Spencer arrived home late, but was delighted to see Kelly, who had unexpectedly come to visit. I told Spencer about Mom, and said that for possibly her last long vacation, I wanted to travel with her instead of going to his parents' house. Spencer was furious. "You can't be serious. We're going to my parents' house. That's the priority here, because I'm the husband." But this time, I couldn't give in. "Like you care about Grace. I care about my mom, too. What's wrong with that?" "Do you hate my parents that much?" "That's not the point. I'm talking about mutual respect." Even though this was about Mom's health, Spencer showed no understanding. Tears filled my eyes from anger and sadness. Then Kelly spoke up. "Mom, just let it go. Divorce him," she said calmly. Her words enraged Spencer. You think you can make a fool out of me? Who do you think puts food on the table?" he yelled. But Kelly was unshaken. Then, "Dad, do you realize what you're doing is bullying? You always put your fun first and never cared about Mom or me. When I hit my teens, suddenly you became all overprotective, shouting at me daily and calling me an ungrateful daughter who doesn't value her father. You don't care about Mom or me. You're just a kid who wants to be pampered," she stated. Kelly's words opened my eyes more than my own thoughts ever had. "See, this is what happens when you let a kid live alone. I don't care about your family. If you don't want to go to my parents' house, let's get a divorce." Spencer was trembling with rage. I looked into his eyes. My resolve hardened. "Fine, let's get divorced," I said, ignoring his shouts. I packed our bags, took Kelly with me, and left the house. After that, I went back to my parents' home and immediately started preparing for divorce, sending the divorce papers through a lawyer. Spencer had thought I would break down and apologize, but upon seeing the divorce papers, he signed them in a fit of anger, and just like that, our divorce was finalized. His family apologized many times, but Spencer's last words were,
"You'll regret this."
I exchanged glances with my in-laws, baffled by the situation. Mom looked sorry, thinking it was her fault that the divorce happened. We assured her multiple times that it wasn't true. We chose our vacation destination based on where Mom wanted to go. "You'll worry without a younger person around." Kelly, an apprentice hairstylist, arranged to come with us, securing understanding from her workplace. Mom truly enjoyed herself during the trip. Looking at Mom's peaceful sleeping face, I had to hold back tears, realizing this could be our last time together. Both Kelly and I deeply enjoyed the trip with Mom. Afterwards, I returned to caregiving, supporting Mom in any way I could. I wanted to make the most out of the remaining time, to be with Mom as much as possible, and to give back for everything she's done. Then, nearly a year later, we found out Mom's health was miraculously improving. Mom and I held hands, shedding tears of joy. When I told Kelly, she broke into loud sobs over the phone. There are still precautions to take, but we decided to celebrate. Aligning with Kelly's day off, we invited our aunt and held a modest dinner party. "It's a girls' night out." Mom watched Kelly, who said this with an innocent smile, looking truly happy. Just then, the doorbell rang. A frail and emaciated Spencer stood at the entrance. "What?" I was at a loss for words, seeing how much Spencer had changed. Spencer then, "I've come for you," said softly. I was stunned, and I didn't know what to make of it when Kelly came over. "What are you doing? This doesn't involve you anymore. Just go." She raised her voice, trying to push Spencer out. Just as Kelly and I were about to push Spencer out, Aunt grabbed my hand. "Let's at least hear what he has to say," she said, smiling warmly at Spencer. "Are you kidding me? You know what kind of person he is?" Kelly raised her voice, to which Aunt whispered, "But it might be interesting," and grinned mischievously. Though unsure, we let Spencer in, knowing Aunt, who's pretty tough-looking, was close by if things got out of hand. Kelly and I exchanged looks, then allowed Spencer to enter the house. Spencer began talking without waiting for us to initiate the conversation. Here's what Spencer had to say. After my divorce with Spencer, he quickly started dating a hostess in her 20s from a nightclub. But as soon as he financially backed her dream of opening her own business, she vanished and stopped responding to his messages. Now in debt, Spencer turned to my family for help. But given the circumstances, they refused and even kicked him out, saying, "You brought this on yourself. Fix your own mess." To add insult to injury, he's also on the list for corporate downsizing and is being pressured to quit. It seems like he's running out of options.
"You are the only one who truly loved and understood me," he said. "You're in a stable job in healthcare, right? Why don't we team up as a couple again and support each other? You were waiting for me, weren't you?"
I was stunned and almost lost for words, but I managed to say, "We're not a couple anymore. We're strangers." Spencer retorted,
"You weren't this cold before. If we can start over, we can even live together in this house. Right, Kelly? Wouldn't you be happy if your parents got along?"
He even tried to get support from our daughter, Kelly. But Kelly simply stated, "No, I wouldn't be happy at all. In fact, I'm happier now that Mom laughs more living with Granny. I even look forward to coming to this house. So I'm happier now than when I was a child." She said this matter-of-factly. Spencer lowered his eyes and spoke in a shaky voice.
"What should I do if even my own daughter says something like this?"
I was really fed up with his melodramatic tone. I looked at Spencer and said, "When I was bedridden with a high fever, you didn't care and went out. When Kelly got injured, you did nothing and left it all to me. But when you caught a minor cold, you'd whine and seek attention. Like Kelly said once, you only think about being pampered. I have no intention of getting back together with someone so selfish and immature." My words flowed more smoothly than I had expected. Upon hearing this, Spencer stood up, glaring at me with his eyes filled with rage.
"Who do you think you're talking to? You people are getting too cheeky. Just shut up and do as you're told."
He screamed. I wondered why I'd been scared of him for so long. I wasn't afraid of Spencer anymore. Keeping my composure, I told him, "Please leave." Spencer screamed.
"You've got to be kidding me!"
He then grabbed a piece of fried chicken in front of him and hurled it at me. It felt uncomfortable as the oil splashed on my face. In that moment, something snapped inside me and I stood up. But my mom grabbed my arm and leaned in. Then she told Spencer, "I really want to throw something at you right now, Spencer. But I care too much about Rosalie and Kelly to stoop to your level. If you value yourself, maybe it's time to learn a different way to love." Her voice was soft but filled with resolve. Spencer, caught in his own excitement, didn't take the words to heart.
"Don't you dare judge me."
He lunged at Mom. That's when Kelly spoke up. "This counts as assault. You know, I'm recording this. Want me to upload it on social media, or should I just call the cops?" She aimed her phone at Spencer. Spencer lowered his raised fist but tried to grab me again. I, however, looked straight into Spencer's eyes and said, "I'll be contacting a lawyer for a restraining order. I'd like to legally ensure that you no longer interact with us. We kindly ask that you leave our home." Spencer chuckled creepily.
"I was joking, okay?"
He tried to eat the food in front of him. "Please leave," I immediately said. Spencer started to say something, still with that creepy grin, but the intense gaze from me, Kelly, Aunt, and Mom made him mutter.
"You're all so cold-hearted."
He staggered out. Once Spencer left, the tension drained from us. We looked at each other and gave a tired laugh. Aunt asked Kelly, "Did you really record that?" Upon hearing this, Kelly casually replied, "As if. It's just a bluff." And she laughed. Although I was filled with joy at how strong Kelly had become, memories of the pain I had caused her filled my mind. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to put you through this," I said, tears of regret spilling over. "It's okay. I see it as a cautionary tale. I'm not a kid anymore, and I can choose who matters to me. But there was a time when it hurt to feel like I was the reason you wouldn't divorce. I'd appreciate it if you could be a little more decisive moving forward." Kelly responded with tears in her eyes. Hearing Kelly's stern yet kind words, I felt the weight of the burden I'd placed on her and wanted to cry out. But with strong-willed Kelly and my mom, who fought through her severe illness right in front of me, I knew I had to be strong too. I may have called Spencer immature, but I realized I still have much growing up to do myself. Spencer tried calling me several times afterward, but I didn't respond at all. He even showed up at the house a few times, but I only told him through the door, "I'll call the police," and I never met him. After a few visits like that, just as I was discussing calling the police next time, I got a call from my in-laws.
"We apologize for our foolish son. We don't want to cause you any trouble, especially not for our granddaughter Kelly, so we've decided to take responsibility as his parents."
That was the gist of it. They called back Spencer, who I kicked out, to help with the family business and tried to re-educate him. But he couldn't stand working under his brother-in-law and ended up causing trouble, not only for the family, but also for their clients. A CEO of one of those clients couldn't stand it any longer and transferred Spencer to work at a subsidiary in the middle of nowhere. It was a strict environment with no entertainment around, and Spencer now seems to be working in what's basically isolation. For someone like Spencer who loves fun, this might be the ultimate penalty. Facing my mom's situation gave me the chance to confront myself. I learned to be strong without blaming others. While I do think Spencer got what he deserved, I can't help but be thankful for the strong, compassionate woman Kelly has become. Rather than harboring resentment, my greater wish now is for Spencer to gain emotional independence. I hope he's living his life somewhere I don't know about.